What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com. I'm here with Michael Cohen of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Michael, the final off-season activity for the Green Bay Packers set to kick off on Tuesday with the mandatory minicamp, although we will see how mandatory that is for some veterans. But we've had about a month now of OTAs. Looking at what we've seen over the course of, the kind of small snippets we've been privy to, what do you think we've learned about this team that we didn't know coming into organized team activities?
Well, one of the things that you actually can learn from guys that aren't wearing pads is sort of getting an idea of how fast they are and how they move and how agile they are and things like that. So I wanted to look at these three rookie wide receiver draft picks and see if they play as fast as their straight line speed indicates that they will. And it's still kind of hard to get an idea of that, but one thing I can say is this, that when Marquez Valdez-Scantling and when Equanimeous St. Brown get the ball in their hands, those two guys can legitimately run away from people that are trying to tackle them. And so if they get the ball in open space this season, whether it's an exhibition game or training camp, or if they do crack into the playing time of the regular season, they legitimately have breakaway speed where if they get it in open space, they're running away from everybody on the field, even the likes of Josh Jones, who, of course, is one of the fastest guys on defense. So that was one thing that I definitely noticed in terms of the way they play the game.
We look at the defensive side of the ball. How much do you think? We obviously aren't going to be privy to what Mike Pettin has planned until we see those pads come on and we start, even in training camp or preseason games, starting getting a better idea of, his scheme and how he wants to use the personnel on hand. But what do you think we learned about Pettin as he tries to implement his scheme and get to know the guys on this team?
I think one of the things that we've learned is that he's very open to adjusting his defense based on the types of players that he has. That's not to say that Dom Capers wasn't, but I think if you look back at some of the things that Pettin did in New York, it's really, really tailored to specific players on the defense, less so than particular alignments or schematic ideas. It's how can they create successes for a specific player based on things he does well. So I look at guys like Clay Matthews, like Oren Burks, like Josh Jones, like Kevin King, if he does become, sort of a shutdown kind of guy, picking up from where he left off last year. I look to see how Pettin can create ways for those guys to be influenced and be more prominent in his defense if they continue to trend the way that they have, because he does a really nice job, whether you look at Jim Leonard, who now, of course, is with Wisconsin, or Bart Scott, who couldn't run very well but found a way to succeed in that defense, Muhammad Wilkerson. These were very unique guys that he found ways to utilize and make successful in spite of whatever flaws they may have had. So I think that's something to keep an eye on is once they play a game, once they put the pads on, once you get through the exhibition season, how does the defense morph and adapt once Pettin gets an idea of how these guys can actually be used in a real game setting?
There you go. All the latest from Green Bay. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest. For Michael, I'm Aaron. We'll talk to you soon.